Needless to say, it's going to be very difficult for me to keep uploading videos here to YouTube. What am I even allowed to talk about anymore besides the weather?
What am I allowed to talk about anymore? All of the people who follow the guidelines, they just sit there in front of a camera and they don't say anything. They just sit there silently with their hands folded, and they get millions of views. The people who don't violate TOS, these people don't say anything. What can we talk about anymore? Our show, tomfoolery, I don't even talk anymore. I don't talk about anything anymore. I can't. There's nothing to talk about if I'm not lying. It's not possible. It's not possible to just have honest conversations. Do we want to talk about vaccines? Do we want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard? Or do we want to talk about Liberty Hangout and Kaitlin Bennett? Do you guys know who Kaitlin Bennett is? She's also known as the Gun Girl. She's also known as the girl who crapped her pants. We'll go with Kaitlin Bennett then. All right. So Kaitlin Bennett, let's start with this. There are lots of other websites outside of YouTube where you can go and share your videos and get some attention for them. And they all normally advertise themselves. If it's not Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, then they advertise themselves as the free speech platform. They're the one that's not going to TOS your butt when you say the wrong words. They're the ones that are going to let you talk about whatever you want. When these platforms come out, though, you go look at them, it's all white nationalists. It's all far-right wingers and racists and neo-Nazis. That's everybody who's on these websites. That's who they are. And Kaitlin Bennett and the Liberty Hangout has been proven numerous times on blogs and on Discord and on all sorts of different platforms to put out anti-Semitic information, to say very racist things, to really push the boundaries. And it's maybe they got some stuff taken down because Kaitlin Bennett is not happy, and it sounds like she's saying goodbye to YouTube.
YouTube, as we know it, is now completely dead. And if you support Donald Trump, your days here are now numbered. To us here on the right, big tech censorship isn't anything new. For years now, they've been targeting conservatives and making those of us still left on here have to censor ourselves just to maintain a social media presence. They tried to be subtle about it for a while, but once the election came around, they took the mask off and went full-blown communist.
Having any sort of censorship does not make you a communist. If I start a platform where I say, hey guys, I want to have a platform for Christians to put out Christian content, Bible studies, and in verse reading and stuff like that. This is going to be my website. It's going to be called ChristTube, and this is what it's here for. This is what I created it for. And then you come on and you're like, okay. So here's my video, guys. This is why I think we should be worshiping the devil and Lucifer and Hades. For those of you who are on a first name basis, I believe that we should be worshiping the devil now and praying to the devil and practicing witchcraft and get your Horcruxes and all of your magic stuff ready. Because we're getting ready to worship the devil. Now, me, as the person who created this website, I'm going to look at this video and I'm going to say, you know what? I don't think that is what I created this website for. I don't think that's what this platform is for. And I don't think that Christians want to be bombarded with devil worshiping videos. So I think I'm going to take that down. I think I'm going to delete their channel. Okay? That is my prerogative. I created this platform. I created this website. It should be there for whatever I want it to be there for. There's nothing ridiculous about that. There's nothing wrong with that. I should be able to do whatever I want with this website because it's mine. Private property is very important. Now, we all know the story about the baker, right? We have the baker who bakes a cake, and there's a couple who comes in and they say, hey, we want you to draw a bunch of gay stuff on the cake. I don't know what gay stuff is. I don't know what they asked for. Maybe it was like 2 penises and frosting right up against each other. Or maybe even just 2 figureheads that were both men or both women. And the baker says, I'm sorry, but because of my Christian beliefs, I just don't feel comfortable baking this cake for you. I will be happy to bake a cake, any cake, just not one that promotes homosexuality. And so they sued him, and all of the right-wingers got super upset, and they said, hold on, this is his business. He should be able to do whatever he wants with it. This is his business. You can't tell him what he can or can't do with his own business. That's wrong. Well, it's the same with YouTube. It's the same with any other company. They can do whatever they want with their business. If they choose to make rules and guidelines where they say you're not allowed to say the word stupid anymore, then we're just not allowed to say the word stupid anymore. That's just the way it works. But we act as though this is like some violation of our freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is between you and your government. That's it. If you come into my house and you call my wife the B word, it doesn't mean that I have to now allow you to stay for dinner. I can kick your butt out. Freedom of speech isn't between you and me. It's not between me and a company. If I'm a cashier for McDonald's and a customer comes in and I say, hey, you look like a stupid fat idiot, they're probably going to fire me. I don't get to stand there and be like, hey, whoa, freedom of speech, guys. I can say whatever I want. The Constitution guarantees it. I can't say these things. It doesn't matter what the Constitution says. The Constitution is between you and your government, not between you and everybody else. So if YouTube wants to censor you, if YouTube wants to put guidelines on your rhetoric and on the words that you say or on the content that you put out, that they have every right to do so. It's their platform. Don't act like it's a violation of your freedom of speech. Jesse West on YouTube says, so you framed her as a racist, now getting into her opinions on religion? What? I didn't get into her opinions on religion. I'm very confused. I didn't talk about her opinions on religion whatsoever. I didn't frame her as a racist. I'm relaying the information that she put out there.
Hiding dozens of President Trump's tweets, labeling anything as misinformation, and fact-checking anything that challenges mainstream media narratives. But what YouTube just announced is so much worse than any type of censorship we've seen before. They are now going to completely erase any content that challenges or questions the integrity of the 2020 election, and they boast having already banned thousands of accounts. According to YouTube's latest policy update, quote, since September, we've terminated over 8,000 1,000 channels and thousands of harmful and misleading elections-related videos for violating our existing policies. The policy update continues. We also work to make sure that the line between what is removed and what is allowed is drawn in the right place. Our policies prohibit misleading viewers about where and how to vote. We also disallow content alleging widespread fraud or errors change the outcome of a historical U.S. presidential election.
So one of the things that she said is that you can't mislead voters on where they can go vote. So like, if I'm on my channel and I got thousands of people watching me and I'm like, hey, everybody, make sure you go vote at place X, when place X doesn't have voting there. Nobody can go vote there. All these people are going to be lined up outside the door and they're never going to get to vote because place X never opens the doors. Place Y is where I should be telling everybody to go vote, but I don't say go vote at place Y. I tell everybody to go to place X, and then therefore I'm making sure that less people get to vote. That's a problem. And that is something that YouTube should try to fight against and make sure that it isn't happening on their platform, especially if they want to be in support of a democratic process in the United States. If they want to be supportive of our Constitution, they should make sure that nobody is misleading voters.
However, in some cases, that has meant allowing controversial views on the outcome or process of counting votes of a current election as election officials have worked to finalize counts. And here's where things get really, really spooky. We will start removing any piece of content uploaded today or anytime after that misleads people by alleging that widespread fraud or errors change the outcome of the 2020 U.S. presidential election.
I mean, they could have just said, don't put out fake news. Would have been pretty simple. I have shown numerous videos of alleged voter fraud. And each time I show it and I say, hey, yeah, it's possible. Maybe there's no evidence for it, but like, you know, this is possible. I didn't get taken down. I used to get videos taken down all the time. It seems as though YouTube's loosened up on a lot of their stuff. I used to have videos taken down almost every day. And if I didn't get it taken down, I always got a strike for it. Every freaking time I got strikes on them. I haven't gotten strikes. I haven't gotten anything taken down in months, maybe 6 months. Just all of a sudden they stopped doing it. Seems as though they've loosened up a lot of this stuff. Something like this, not a big deal.
In line with our approach towards historical U.S. presidential elections. For example, we will remove videos claiming that a presidential candidate won the election due to widespread software glitches or counting errors. Those are...
I mean, look, there is a lot of danger in something like this. And it's not just as simple as like getting the information out there. These are things that could start something like a civil war. These are things that push more divide in our country that we just don't need right now. We've got COVID. We've got Black Lives Matter protests. We've got all sorts of problems already. We don't need more division. We don't need more problems. You can put the information out there, but don't call it a fact when it's not a fact. That's all anybody's asking. That's all anybody's saying is, hey, look, you know, hey, you think there might be voter fraud. Say, hey, this is possible that there could be some voter fraud. No big deal. Nobody's going to care. But when you start saying we have proof that there's voter fraud, we saw it with our own eyes, they can't deny it anymore. That's when you got problems. And that's what a lot of people are doing. And this is why they have to change their rules, is because like it's not as simple as just saying don't put out fake news, because you're not putting out fake news. It does look like it's possible that they did commit some sort of voter fraud, but when you start alleging that it's definitely voter fraud, this is where you fall into some problems. This is where we fall into some trouble.
Awfully specific, YouTube. Effectively, what they are saying is that if you use YouTube to allege that anyone but Joe Biden won the 2020 election, you will be banned.
Even though Joe Biden did win the 2020 election, like the electorates have already placed their votes, guys. He already won. It's not like a question of whether or not he won. Like, we're pretty sure, we're pretty positive, like when the electorates place their votes, we know who won at that point. Like, it's just, that's the way it works. I've looked into it myself. I've done the studying. I've done all the research I need. Electorates are what choose the president pretty definitively. So Jesse West on YouTube said, hey, there's already COVID and BLM, so don't speak your mind. I speak your mind all you want. That's not the same thing as lying, putting out fake news, coming to conclusions that aren't actually there with evidence. Like, that's not the same thing. You can speak your mind, making up a conclusion is the problem. That's not speaking your mind. It's just not. I know we all like to pretend like, hey, just put a little sunlight on it, and that's all you need for some disinfectant, right? Just put bad ideas out there, and everybody will see it for what it is. Everybody will know that it's a bad idea, and they just won't listen to it. It'll be stupid. Everybody will hear the bad idea, and they'll be like, oh, I don't like bad ideas, so I'm not going to listen to that one. In reality, that's not how things actually work. We have socialists. We have communists. They actually exist. These are real people. They're for real. We have neo-Nazis, and we have white nationalists. Like, these people are real. They're really there. It's not that they saw the bad ideas and we're just like, nope, can't do it. It's a bad idea. And we all know what's true and what's not. We all just know right away that something's not true. Not everybody can think critically. Not everybody can look at something and say, hey, this could be true, but that doesn't mean that it is true. Not everybody does that. Actually, it seems to be more and more rare. It seems to be happening less and less. Jesse West also said, we don't know everything about COVID and there are issues with BLM. Just putting sunlight on your take. True. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody out there who's going to say there's no issues with BLM. They're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. There's not a single bad person within BLM. And COVID, we only found out about it this year, but we know 100% of everything that we'll ever need to know about it. Maybe people are, maybe, CNN may be saying this stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I don't watch CNN. Maybe they're saying this stuff. Like, BLM, the greatest people in the world have assembled, and they now call themselves BLM. And they are all, every single one of them, the second coming of Christ himself. Each one of them as holy as the other. They have absolutely no problems. I don't think, but me personally, I don't think I've seen them say this stuff. I haven't witnessed it myself.
before they announced this policy update, it was already abundantly clear that YouTube was trying to stop the spread of pro-Trump content. In case you haven't noticed, our views on YouTube have recently been a mere fraction of what we were getting just a month ago. Needless to say, it's going to be very difficult for me to keep uploading videos here to YouTube. What am I even allowed to talk about anymore besides the weather?
What am I allowed to talk about anymore? All of the people who follow the guidelines, they just sit there in front of a camera and they don't say anything. They just sit there silently with their hands folded, and they get millions of views. The people who don't violate TOS, these people don't say anything. What can we talk about anymore? Our show, tomfoolery, I don't even talk anymore. I don't talk about anything anymore. I can't. There's nothing to talk about if I'm not lying. It's not possible. It's not possible to just have honest conversations. Jesse West said, bedtime, peace. Good guest tonight. Can't wait to talk in person on the Iowa stuff you didn't read. What? I read the stuff about Iowa. I read all your comments. The stuff about rhinos, the stuff about the election fraud. I'm going back, and the stuff about Bernie and the DNC. I literally went. I pulled up the article that you sent me. I literally pulled up every single comment that you made, even the one where you say, I hate chatting on here because you never look at the arguments in good faith. I even read that one out loud. I don't know. I don't I don't know what you want from me. We'll talk about it in person. We'll go back over it. We'll look at it.
This is why it's more important than ever for you to join us over at libertyhangout.tv, where I can actually speak freely and not have to worry about censorship. We are currently having our biggest sale ever for Christmas, and I highly encourage—
Whoa! That's a little sexy right there. Kaitlin Bennett, what are you doing? I can see cleavage in the orange and in the green. I can see some booty and some, whoo, girl. The alt-righters do not like this sort of stuff. You need to be careful. They are not happy when you start looking a little bit less traditional.
You guys to sign up for our annual plan, which you can get at a phenomenal rate right now at libertyhangout.tv. I really wish that I could upload every single video I make to YouTube, but with the way things are going,
Me too. I just can't, like, freaking 90% of the content I make, just can't upload it. Just I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, ah, dang it. So much fake news in my content. I can't upload it. I need to go find another platform like Parler, or I don't know what the white nationalist platforms are, but wherever Stefan Molyneux is, that's where I'm going. Wherever they accept these bald white dudes.
the majority of my content going forward will likely have to be uploaded at libertyhangout.tv. I've also moved over to Parler and Rumble, and I urge you guys very quickly, go follow us there as well.
Boom.
If the socialists get control of Washington.
No, not the socialists. Kaitlin Bennett, as I said, known as Gun Girl, also known as Crap Girl. And supposedly she crapped her pants at a college party one time. It's not important. She was super wasted. and crapped her pants in front of everybody. It's cool. Independent says gun girl Kaitlin Bennett accused of making anti-Semitic statements in leaked messages. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I know everybody hates on Kaitlin Bennett. I think she's kind of cute. She's got the Aryan look. She's got the blonde hair, the blue eyes. That's what I like. Just me personally. Kaitlin Bennett, who is known as Gun Girl from her pictures while attending Kent State University, has been accused of making anti-Semitic jokes in newly released messages between herself and her organization, Liberty Hangout. Miss Bennett gained attention from the public after images surfaced of the college student carrying her AR-10 rifle on the Kent, Ohio college campus for graduation pictures. Using this notoriety, she's gone on to be a controversial figure of the alt-right movement. One of her most recent outlandish statements included her willingness for women to give up their right to vote so she could continue to carry guns. Honestly, letting women vote in this country wasn't one of the best ideas, she tweeted this week. Females vote with emotion and overwhelmingly support democratic feel-good policies that take away our actual rights. I'd rather lose my right to vote than lose my right to defend myself with a firearm. But now Miss Bennett has found herself in more controversy after screenshots of private messages from 2017 were published by itsgoingdown.org, a far-left news site. The site published screen grabs of the anti-Semitic messages that were originally obtained by Colorado Springs anti-fascists. In the messages between Miss Bennett and other members of Liberty Hangout, the group shared pictures of someone and wrote, "They look Jewish." Miss Bennett also attacked Turning Point USA, an alt-right media group. Oh my goodness. Okay. They just lost all credibility. Turning Point USA is pretty stupid, and they're pretty far right. They're not alt-right, though. The alt-right had been attacking Turning Point USA for years and years, and the more the alt-right attacked TPUSA, the more TPUSA started to move farther right. That part is true. I don't know that I consider them alt-right yet, but honestly, for the last 9 months, I haven't kept up with them very much. So it's possible that at this point, they may actually be alt-right. Just from my own personal experience, from what I've seen, they aren't yet. So, in 2018, the woman had a public falling out with the group because she thought they strayed away from alt-right messaging. One message called the media group Turning Point Israel. I bet they have a lot of Jewish and Israel first donors, Miss Bennett wrote, adding she would donate her Christmas gifts to the Jewish country. Another person that responded to Miss Bennett using 3 parentheses around the word they. So anytime you see 3 parentheses on anything, 1, 2, 3, on both sides, this is a dog whistle to say this person's Jewish. And it is a dog whistle. It is something to say. There's no point in pointing out that somebody's Jewish unless you have a problem with the Jews. Especially if you're somebody like Kaitlin Bennett who thinks that the white Aryan nation is really important. Jewish people for the most part are kind of white, especially Jewish people in America. But when you differentiate them from all other white people and you continuously put 1, 2, 3 parentheses on each side of a word to show that this person is Jewish, then it seems fairly anti-Semitic. To reference the media group under attack, the use of the parentheses is known as an anti-Semitic symbol to highlight people who are Jewish or organizations that have Jewish members. Other messages followed from members of the group, with them expressing how they need a presidential candidate to deport the lone conservative to Israel. Can't wait to get back to being normal Nazis, another group member wrote. Previously, the Liberty Hangout faced backlash in 2016 for publishing a Twitter poll asking people if they believe that what happened in the Holocaust as we've been told. The Twitter page later responded to someone's comment about the poll, writing, "It doesn't seem possible that 6 million were killed." These tweets were later deleted. Liberty Hangout has remained an active supporter of President Donald Trump on Twitter and wrote this week that president should be king over Americans. Ms. Bennett recently shared on Facebook a picture of herself outside the White House. She said she was invited to tour the West Wing, the West Wing of the Trump administration. Okay. So yeah, not only is she posting anti-Semitic things, but her community posts anti-Semitic things. Now, I'm not going to say that Kaitlin Bennett is somehow responsible for what her community posts, but when you actually advocate for things, the community that you build is normally one that agrees with you on things. Normally, the community that watches your shows and comments on your posts are people that have similar beliefs to you. And if over time you start to realize that there's a bunch of racists in your comments, that there's a bunch of racists in your community, then you should probably change the messages that you're putting out there. Kaitlin Bennett, over a long period of time, has continued to have alt-right, racist, white nationalist viewers and has continued to put out the same content, falling farther and farther right. She's not one who's changing the message. She's not veering off course to make sure that she doesn't have a bunch of racists in her community. She's not somebody who disavows all the racists and all the racism and all the anti-Semitism. She just keeps moving forward with the same stuff that she's always put out. Which is why she feels uncomfortable on a platform like YouTube, where I say ridiculous things all the time. I say controversial things. I don't feel uncomfortable on this platform. I don't feel as though I'm going to get kicked off. I think you have to be saying some really messed up stuff in order for you to feel more controversial than me. Like, I think you're saying some pretty messed up stuff at that point. I really do. I'm sorry. All right.